Good morning. This is Ogle's Fish Room, and this is New Year's Eve, actually, 2022, and Saturday, early in the morning, about 7 o'clock, I believe. And I know I just made a video yesterday, but I realized something. The video yesterday I kind of dedicated to my Aunt Thomasine from North Carolina that was down for a visit. She absolutely fell in love with my fish room. We don't see her very often. I'm going to do a quick scan here of my fish room. You all have seen these in detail, so I'm not going to go through too much of this. Let's see, well, they're all swimming around somewhere. Okay, let's see, the first bed is over here. Where's the second guy? Oh, he's back there. He's pretty. He's in the shade, so you don't see his colors too much. He sees the camera now, so he's coming up front to show how pretty he is. This guy is doing the same. He said, "Oh, pretty. Pretty." Okay. Let's see, number 3 over here. Where are you? Oh, he's in the back. Isn't he a cutie? I tried to scrape this algae off just yesterday. I missed a big spot. Anyway, there his color is. Okay, this is number 4 over here. This is the one that used to be white with clear fins, and he has just, look at those colors. He is just a happy camper right there. I'm a big believer in that the happier the fish, the more colorful they become. Anyway, I'm going to try to, I don't know if I see the little girl in here right now. She's in the back there. There she is. Little female betta. Well, I don't know what's on my, I don't know if that's on my camera or the, there she is. Okay, there she is. Pretty. This is only a 2.5 gallon, but I've got a lot of stuff in here. The log is kind of mounted up on some rocks so she can scoot underneath there, which she does quite often. Okay, this is one of my newer bettas. You have seen him before if you watch my channel. I find him just breathtaking because of his colors. Let's see, back off a little bit and show you his tank. Okay, over here, this is my second to newest. He was the newest up to yesterday. I lost a little female over in the 5-gallon tank, which I'll show you in a minute, but aren't his colors beautiful? He was mostly white. He's getting some dark blue in the dorsal and the, well, I lost him. He's learned where to hide in this tank, even though it's only 5 gallons. And this is basically a 10-gallon tank. There's the other guy over here. He's a beauty too. Look at those colors. Ah, beautiful. Anyway, 10-gallon tank with a divider in the middle. There he came out again. Where are you? Where's your head? There you are. Okay, pretty. Now these are just veil tails. Just happens to have some beautiful coloring. Of course, coolie loaches everywhere. I'm a big lover of coolie loaches. Okay, this other 5. Now this is my 20. Sorry about the movement here. My 20 long. I'll back up and let you see that. It has a divider in the middle, so I can have 2 more bettas. This is my oldest guy here. He's getting a little shaggy. I tried to say that to Aunt Thomasine, and she said, "What makes him look old? I said, "Well, his fins are kind of shaggy. They're not as pristine as they used to be, but he's still colorful. But he's just older. That's all. You know, happens to the best of us. We get shaggy, anyway, or shabby, one of the two. Where's my red guy in here? You know, this is only 10 gallons here." This side, I mean, and yet I'm amazed how this red betta can hide himself in here. It's just, there he is right there. Okay, there he is. Now he's just a solid color, but I think he's breathtaking. There he is. Come on, there you are. Okay. Pretty pretty. This is my newest little boy right here. There was a female in here. She passed away a couple of days ago. This little boy just got here yesterday. He is a half moon, but his coloring is very interesting to me. He's got a dark, well, where'd he go? There he is, back under the KV there. Cave. He's underneath. There he just swam. Oh, there he is. There he is. Isn't that beautiful? Dark body, but the fins have a lot of white in them. Shiny silver, red, blue. Very pretty. Got a lot of shrimp in here and a lot of the bumblebee gobies. Okay, I'm going to try to move it along. I know I keep saying that and I talk too much. Okay, we're going to... Okay, so you don't see me in my underwear there. Okay, this is the 20 high, and what we have here, let me back off. There we go. What we have here are there are 13 long fin black skirt tetras, and quite a few, well, about 5 coolie loaches for cleanup crew. Some shrimp, possibly. I put them in here. I don't see any right off the bat, but that's okay. A little snail there. Down here we have the, excuse me, there. Well, where are they? Okay, they're there. The my albino angelfish. It is a mated pair. They do have babies from time to time. I haven't seen them being able to save any so far. They're very good parents. They're not eating them per se, or at least not in the beginning, but let's see here. There we go. Just trying to show the tank a little bit. Okay, and we're going to move back to the 75. Let me back off. There we go. There we go. Okay. I know I sound like I'm repeating myself, but actually the reason I'm doing this particular video is after talking to my Aunt Thomasine. She loved my fish tank, but she's a typical person that may never have had any, and she likes what she likes, and that's normal for most people. She was fascinated by my little neon tetras over in one of my tanks to my right, and wanted to know what it would take to set up a little tank, just something small, and to have nothing but neons in it. And this is the reason for this video, because I forget, I've been doing this since I was 5, I'm 68 now, so I forget to talk about the basics, and a lot of people don't know the basics, and when I didn't realize that it sounds so ominous, so until I started explaining things to her, when she started asking detailed questions about, what kind of tank would I need, what equipment do I need, etc., etc. And I do this stuff so automatically, and I'm using equipment that I've had for 25 years. Now, I don't mean all of it. I'm just saying I have outside filters and canister filters that they don't even make anymore. So it's almost like you forget what other people, you have knowledge that you don't realize you need to impart to others because it's so natural to you that you don't realize things that other people might not know, if that makes any sense to you. So as I was explaining things to her, I could just see her face getting more and more upset or depressed, and also about the cost of things. And I'm not pointing a finger at Aunt Thomasine. I love her dearly, and I'm just using her as an example here. But it made me realize what a lot of people don't know that aren't really into the fish, as well as some of us watching this video might be. So I'll try to go through a few things. First off, a lot of people don't understand why they need any kind of equipment. You know, they go to the store, they see betas sitting in a little teeny bowl, and they think, well, I can take the bowl home and he'll be fine like that. And I don't agree with that. He may live a little while, but that doesn't mean he's happy. Also, you would need to change that water every single day for him sitting in a little teeny bowl with a pint of water. And a lot of people just don't realize all that. And so the best way I could explain it, it's going to sound gross, but these fish are sitting in, or swimming in, and living in a septic tank. They are producing waste. You feed them. Yes, you have to be careful of how much food you put in, because if it goes and gets somewhere and rots, that fouls up the water. But even if they eat it all, which, as you can see, my gazillion coolie loaches are still running around the tank. I just fed them a little bit ago. And they are wonderful at getting into the nooks and crannies and getting a lot of the food out. But even if that happens, they still ate it. It goes to their system to provide energy for them, and it comes out as waste, and that fouls the water. And so there has to be biological things happening with the biological filter has to be created for the place for the positive beneficial bacteria to grow and to help break down and feed on and break down these waste materials. And if you're not really into this hobby, you don't really get all that, and because you can't see the bacteria, you don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes. So to me, the plants, which is why I've been so fanatic about planting this back up, as you can see, after my Filmatosa birds got a new home, I'm able to have plants in here that I just truly love. I love all these plants. But they're helping to eat that waste. That's what they feed off of. If it was a terrestrial plant outside in the yard, it's feeding off the soil, which has all kind of decaying matter in it that is feeding their root system, and thus making the plants live and grow and thrive, etc. Same thing with the plants in your fish tank, except they're feeding off like the Nubius and other plants with the rhizome, they're feeding off the water column. You can see some roots right up here for an example, and this guy has a massive root system. I'm not sure you can see that, but anyway, but they're pulling the waste out of the water and feeding off it, so that helps break down that waste. That helps make it purified a little more for the fish. And some plants like I think this is a Radicum sword here, and several of the crypts, which are in the soil, their root system is in the sand, but it is feeding off also the waste. And anyway, all that helps. But if you have an itty bitty teeny weeny tank, and especially if you're just going to have a fish in a bowl, that none of that is taking place. And a lot of people don't quite get that. As I said, they go look at the betas in the store, and they see them in these little bowls, and they think, well, that's okay. Well, it's not really, And for people that think they're going to buy a fish and do nothing, that fish is not going to live very long, because a lot of people don't want to be, replacing that water or cleaning the filters, etc., etc. So anyway, let me get back to the point. The point is that I have, let's see what I have here. I have a canister filter over here. Of course, I can't see the canister filter, it's outside, but there's the intake tube there with a foam sleeve on top of it, which I just took it out and cleaned it yesterday. You have to squeeze that the sponge that's on that, you can see that right there, the sponge that's over the intake tube, sorry. And have to open up the canister filter and clean everything out from inside there. And that has to be done periodically, possibly every week. Over here, which you probably can't see, but in the back is a humongous I don't even think you can buy these anymore. It's, well, you can't see it either. It's just massive. It's a massive outside hang on the back filter. I also have, now these don't filter anything, but I have wave makers up here that move the water. There's also another one behind that one that you might not be able to see. That and the air bubbler back there, it goes up, and I have one specifically that blows those bubbles around across the back of the tank. So a lot of aeration going on, a lot of water movement, which, as you can see, these plants moving. That's good for the plants. It moves everything around. It also keeps my sand crystal clear because the movement stirs up all the waste products, for using a nice word there. But look at the sand. It's absolutely gorgeous. But the water movement is blowing all that up, breaking it down. It gets sucked up into the filters. And then I have to do my job to clean all that. And, I put new filter floss in the outside hang on the back filter. I take everything out occasionally and, wash the biostones and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, I love this. I mean, and I'm sure most of you watching this do as well. Otherwise, you wouldn't be spending the time listening to me. But this is fun for us, okay? But for the person that's just starting in this, I was saying to my, let me move over here. I was saying to my Aunt Thomasine, this little tank here she was asking about, this is a little 2.5. Well, you can't have too many fish in there. I've got a female betta. I won't even put a male betta in there because I think it's too small. But I do have some plants that are helping to clarify that water, cleanse that water, but I also have a rather large sponge filter right here. You can see that. And I take that sponge out every week, maybe even more than once a week, but definitely every week. And there's another over here. There's a filter up top. I know you can't see it, but there, see the rubber band holding its little intake tube was too small, so I had to put a rubber band to hold the filter, sponge on top of the intake. And it's a very simple. Let me do this. Let me lift this up and show you that. Okay, there. It just sucks water up there, pumps it out on that side. It runs across this little filter floss and back into the tank. It's a very simple concept, but as you can see, it's not terribly dirty. But when it does get dirty, there, let me put that back. When it does get dirty, I replace it. It's just that simple. And the same thing with pulling the sponge out once a week. There she is. Pulling the sponge out once a week and cleaning that. All this it has to be done, and a lot of people don't want to do that. Now, I got this little tank off of, this is an Aquarium 2.5. I got it off of Marketplace, what is that? Facebook Marketplace, which is fantastic. I buy a lot of stuff from people off of that and get some fantastic deals. This was only $15. This is a full kit. This has got a lid. Now, of course, the sponge filter I added myself because I love these, but we won't get into that. But, and of course, all the stuff inside, the scaping is mine. But I bought the tank itself with the lid, and I'll explain why that's cocked up to you in the back in a second here. But this is $56 for a 2.5-gallon Aquarium tank. Now, it does have a light in the lid. It does have a lid. It does have a little filter over here. But that's a lot of money for something that really can only house 1 or 2 fish. Now, I have one female betta there in this, and a slew, probably 10 or 15, which I don't see right. Well, some sitting around. There's some shrimp. For the cleanup crew. There's shrimp, there's one rolling along in the back there. To keep this clean, but it still requires work. And I'm sorry, I'm being long-winded again. the point I'm trying to make is I got this tank for 15 bucks, even though the lady probably paid 56 new. And it, when I went to pick it up, I said to her, I said, "This looks brand spanking new. You must not have used it very much." And she said, "We didn't. We would put a beta in there and he'd die, and we'd get another beta and he'd die, and we'd put another beta and he'd die for my grandson. And eventually we said, okay, this isn't working for us." Okay. Well, 90% of the people that go into this hobby, that's the routine. They try it for a short period of time, feel like they invested a lot of money for nothing, and get out of it and don't do it anymore. And now that gives, well, I won't go there. Anyway, let me explain the top a little bit. I do not have a heater in this. This room is heated, and that's how I heat all my tanks. I keep the door closed. It is a bedroom of one of the girls that's grown up and moved away and has children, etc., etc. But it's now my fish room, and I'm able to put a heater in the middle of the room and keep it all pretty toasty for these fish. And that's another thing, the heater. You know, a heater can cost you 25 bucks, even for a little tank like this. And so it just adds up, and a lot of people don't realize they need those things, and it might be the reason people's fish are dying, because they don't have a heater in it. But, I mean, you can, with everything I've got in this tank, now, I don't have this in it because I took plants out of my other tanks, and I had the filter and blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying, if you went to the store and bought this stuff, you've got $100 in this little tank, easy peasy, no problem. So a lot of people just can't not only afford that, but don't see the justification for one or two fish. And I understand that. Okay, back to the lid. Even without a heater in this light produces enough heat that if you let, I've cocked this up, I don't know if you can see this very well. I'm gonna lift this up. Okay, this plastic that I put around here is the plastic little container, if you will, that I got from the dollar store, Dollar Tree exactly. Cut it up to fit, and taped it on the inside of this to keep the lid up in the back, because it gets too darn hot in here. Now, a lot of people like lids. I like lids, but I like the ones like this that are 2 inches high, sits up, so there's room for the airflow to go out the back and not heat up the tank too much. Also, it's a much deeper tank. But on a small tank, you know, it could be just too hot. And so I simply built this up in the back. I do like to only look at it that way, but it keeps it cooler. Anyway, I'm going on too much. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment and ask me, and I will try to answer it for you. I'm sorry it takes me so long to say things, but I'm just trying to get it across that when you start explaining to somebody, which I was explaining to Aunt Thomasine these details, and I have not done that in years. Talk to somebody about what it might cost and what it might take to actually start a tank. It's just something I do automatically, and I don't think about it anymore. But when you really sit down and start with even a 2.5, and let's say you start listing them, all the things that they need to make that, to just make a few fish survive. And let's say she wanted 10 of the neon tetras. I'm not sure 10 neon tetras would live in the 2.5. You'd probably have to go to a minimum of 5, and probably even better at 10. So then your cost starts going up. Anyway, it just, when you're trying to tell somebody it may cost $100 to set up a little 2.5 gallon tank, it sounds pretty overwhelming, I think. So I understand that, and I just wanted to convey that to all of you. And I thank you so much for being patient with me and listening to my long-winded videos. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful New Year's. We all hope that 23 is going to be better than 22. So take care of yourselves, and thanks again for being patient with me and for watching my videos. You take care. This is Ogle's Fish Room. Ogle Warfield signing out. Happy New Year.